Thank you for being here. You're here on a special day, I'll tell you that.
Why is it not working, Jonesy?
They don't want to be locked into a house or an apartment.
Got to follow the social distancing rule.
And some nuff dicks were getting tested, then going in and doing a shop.
COVID. I had it.
Detective George Bennett.
Yeah, he's a bellend. Absolutely.
George, don't say hello to you. Like,
I don't know. I'm actually genuinely embarrassed.
I broke my back.
A vertebrae or a portion?
Spinal.
Mate, Jonesy, just do that thing where you just put Bill's talking and let me see I can hear him first.
Hey, fellas.
Hey, Sam.
Big show today.
Hey, before we kick into the big show, I just need to make an apology, actually, to you, Dan. You invited me on your sister podcast, the Detour this morning.
Yes.
And within about 3 seconds, I managed to take it from a family show into a PG, maybe M, with some language that
I felt like that was my mistake because I sort of threw you in the deep end at the last minute. But then when I saw you had internet issues, I'm just going, oh, come on, George, don't say anything. Because normally, you get frustrated.
Yeah.
And sure enough, you've gone, what the fuck's going on here? And I'm like, oh, no.
So I didn't know that they couldn't hear me.
We heard
they
it.
couldn't hear me because I couldn't see them and I was hearing like alien noises,
Yeah.
And why should my Wi-Fi go wrong? So I don't know. And I just got frustrated. And then by the time I tune back in, get it all sorted, they're all sort of looking at me weird going, mate, this is a family show.
Mate, there would have been kids.
You got your wires crossed.
Yeah,
I
there would have been kids
it,
all across Australia going, Dad, my fucking ears.
You took the tone of the show into a live broadcast.
Yeah.
Family broadcast.
Yeah, it's my mistake.
5:30 or 7:30 at night, kids are watching it. It's like the Goodnight Kiwi, like we spoke about. And you've come in pre Goodnight Kiwi and dropped an F-bomb.
Yeah, I brought a Quentin Tarantino movie into a 5:30 viewing of Neighbours. You know what I mean? Like a real.
Or you've slid it into the Cartoon Network or something.
Yeah. And that's so sorry about that, but
it's all right, mate. It's happened a lot of times on live TV over the years, and we love talking about Mike Tyson on this show, and he's in the intro, but he used to do it all the time. I remember there was one time where that guy was interviewing him. He's going, "Hey, Mike, why are you going to talk like that?" He goes, "Hey, fuck off! You don't like it? Change your fucking station." He goes, "Oh, okay, mate. Okay, mate. We're going to leave you there, mate. Like, don't poke the bear. Don't poke the bear." So anyway,
yeah, we do have a big show though. Now that the apologies are out of the way, the pleasantries. We're announcing the winner of our Amilla Resorts Maldives trip. Some point throughout the show, I've cast the podcast fishing line out, and I'm fairly confident that we'll have a guest joining us relatively soon. And then we're going to just talk absolute bullshit like we normally do about a year and about a legend or a bellend. It's going to be great.
I'm really looking forward to the chat about the year. I think this is going to be a game changer because the three of us collectively put our heads together, and I'm just so proud of the group. We all contributed to little things here and there. We're trying to work out a hashtag. Bill and I, like, we were equating it to a cricket game. Like, yeah, almost there, Bill's a bit more flight, a bit more tweak on it. And then we rattled off the idea to George and straight away got the nick.
Yeah.
And come up with it.
So
that's all coming up.
So we've got a global hashtag. We're going to pump. It's going to go. We're so confident and arrogant in our own ways. George comes up with this hashtag, which we'll release shortly. And we're like, oh, that's going to be that's going to go worldwide. It's going to be a global sensation. Like, we'll probably be the only three using it.
So really, I mean, I've never used one in my life. I literally have never ever used a hashtag.
It doesn't exist. I've searched it. The hashtag that you've come up with does not exist. And I'm telling you, we will get to it later in the show, but I've used this hashtag daily, in fact, hourly, and it instantly makes you feel better. Doesn't matter what day you're having, doesn't matter what situation, how shit the situation is. You use this George Better hashtag and bang, you instantly feel much better.
Well, I had to use it yesterday when I crashed. I bloody crashed our training yesterday.
You can't get a break.
It's not ideal. Oh, I can actually. I got a couple.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, when you're training with a broken wrist, it's fine until you have to take evasive action. And this bloody truck cut in front of me, and I had no option but to take the grass verge off to the right, and I just went. Lucky I was going like 3k an hour, and I was able to control my fall a bit, and I just tucked my arm underneath my armpit and got like one of those Sonic the Hedgehog balls from like the old Sony PlayStation game, when he gets like in that ball and goes, whoosh!
Yeah.
And like I managed to just tuck and roll, and the wrist didn't even touch the blade of grass, thankfully. Otherwise, that could have been disastrous.
We told you when you crashed at the tour, you needed to work on that. So you actually have done training for crashing because you needed to develop the tuck and roll technique better, so you're not in these situations.
Exactly. And when you're mindful of it, you can actually pull it off. But it's a bit harder when you're going 60k an hour and you think your bones are made of steel and it's not going to matter. You just take the hit. But when you're mindful
You've been
of it,
nursing that wrist around on the bike. It can be like frustrating, or not even frustrating, just almost comical at times. If you're training with Sam at the moment, he'll just be completely undone by, the speed bumps that aren't even speed bumps. You don't even register them in the car. There's those little plastic like risers. So he'll be cruising down a hill, coasting into a town, and there'll be a little plastic bump, and you'll be talking to him, telling the story, and suddenly he's not there, and you look back and he's about 3k back down the road because he's hit the anchors because he's going, I can't hit a speed bump. You can't, just undone completely by 3 mil of plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you guys hit these things at 60k an hour normally and just bunny hop over them, and I'm like slowing down to a standstill to get over it.
Yeah, well, you've got to avoid at all costs, mate. You don't have a choice. Just gotta be smart.
Let's get it right. Yeah.
So there's some news hot off the press, I understand.
Yeah. Paris-Roubaix, done and dusted. Is that what you're talking about? Are you talking about Donald Trump going on a 55-minute rant today, and they're worried about this medication's cooked his head?
No, really?
Have you heard about that?
Oh no!
No, but that sounds
the last
good.
thing we need.
No, well, I haven't read the details, but he's gone on this rant, and even his son, Donald Jr., I think, is generally worried about his old man.
What's he ranting about?
I don't know. I didn't even see the rant. I was in between doing other things, but apparently it's a 55-minute rant, which I don't know why that's news. That's just every day on the election. Yeah, it's standard. But what I couldn't believe with that whole situation, right, is when Trump got COVID, right, there was going to be a couple of possibilities. Number one, he was going to go away, get medical treatment, lay low, and then come out and, not die. Oh, he could have died, but I thought he was going to come out and go, you know what, I got it wrong. COVID's serious. We need to, change our whole approach. Or he could beat it and then say, oh, mate, no stress, don't worry about it. But when he was in there for 2 days, and then his brain couldn't process these people with signs and cheering. He had to get in the car, wave to the crowd like he's some bloody rock star. And the guy driving in the front seat is just sitting there like a toddler that just shit his pants thinking, man, I'm going to go down for this. That whole inner of the car is just spreading bloody virus. You can't script this shit.
He doesn't follow his own playbook, eh? He doesn't follow his own playbook. 2-week quarantine, he's 2 days later, he's in the backseat of the Escalade, waving, no mask on.
No.
And
he won't be beaten.
Now I'm reading this transcript of this rant, and he's refused to do the second debate on the
because it's virtual
debate. Yeah.
Well, so what they can probably mute his mic so he can't cut in. You used to always cut in over the top. Like on the Zoom chat or on this show, I can mute the mic, so he loses control. So maybe
it'd be pretty hard having a debate virtually. Debates are all about the confrontation.
I've been watching the New Zealand electoral debates, and we've got a big election coming up. Maybe one of the biggest elections in the years, because there's not just the election, but there's 2 referendums going on. There's the end of life referendum and the legalized marijuana referendum. And I was thinking about this. This morning when I was reading the paper, and I saw Jacinda Ardern's been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize for her handling of COVID and for the mosque shootings and just for being, peace first as a kind of strategy. And
sort of one of the regulations around winning a Nobel Peace Prize. It's not about
It'd be a big chunk, I reckon.
But I just thought, like, how's that for publicity? You know, you're running for an election, and 3 weeks out from the polls, it gets announced. Oh, by the way, I'm also in the running for and she's essentially going up versus like the female
Trump
version of Donald Trump. Like that's Judith Collins is running that kind of vibe. She's just she's an interesting lady. But if Labour lose this now with that on their side, then they've really fucked it up.
Yeah.
Elections are funny things, because like the prime minister, it's always easier in an election when you're the current prime minister.
Oh yeah,
because you have the stage. You've had the stage for 4 years, and you have the stage now, and it's so much harder for someone to come in from behind. And
but then you become the hunted, Sam. Hey, we've got a guest. We've got a guest in the lobby, Sam.
All right, get her in.
All right, Gracie Elvin,
here we
absolute superstar. How are you?
I need to be on landscape. Is that better?
Oh yeah,
there you go.
There you go. Yeah, we've got an expert. We've finally got an expert on the show. We really know what we're doing.
It's taking us 15 eps.
First female guest.
I'm the first chick. Cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
I hope you get a few more on here.
Yeah, no, we are. We've realised that we need to pull finger on that.
Well, no one's wanted to come on. It's not like we haven't invited. They've sort of got the tone for the show, and they're like, "Nah, fuck that."
It doesn't feel like it's.
So, Gracie, we've had the bloody carpet ripped out from underneath us 5 minutes before the show started. We wanted to talk to you all about a couple of things. Obviously, you've announced your retirement. You're up in Belgium for the Classics and your last Classics campaign of your career. But secondly, we wanted to talk about the first ever women's Paris-Roubaix, and it's been bloody cancelled.
Yeah, pretty devo right now. It's actually good bad timing to have this chat. I was on the ergo because my hands are shredded because I did Paris-Roubaix recon yesterday.
Oh, look at that blister. Give us another go at that. Oh, yeah. Wow.
That was after 2 sectors yesterday. So, Sam, your mate, Luca, gave us the heads up last night at dinner. Number 1, don't do it. Number 2 is don't wear gloves. And so Jess and I decided to try that. No gloves, 2 sectors in, hands are absolutely shredded.
So it looks like you asked the mechanics to replace your bar tape with sandpaper. I mean, that's two sections in.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a right or wrong in Roubaix. I've tried every way. I've tried with gloves, I've tried without gloves, I've tried cutting gloves, I've tried plasters, I've tried everything, and I've never pulled it off. I don't know. You got to just callus them up somehow before Roubaix, but haven't really had the chance this year, have we? So you got Ghent Wevelgem on this Sunday, and then Flanders next Sunday. That's right,
Yeah.
Do you have anything next during the week or not?
No,
I've done
got
my
a
research.
gap between the 2 Sundays, so I'm going to stay up in Oudenaarde and just spend some last time in Belgium. Unlike most riders, I actually like it here, but I think it's just because I've got so many good memories here. It's a bit like that family holiday destination you go back to, and you have a really nice feeling. You can't really put your finger on why, but it's just because you've had lots of good times here. So I'm just trying to soak up my last few days in Belgium.
So Flanders was going to be your last race. That's right,
Unfortunately, it's Depane. So,
no.
Yeah, I really wanted to finish my career with Roubaix. That would have been the dream, but finishing it with Flanders is pretty cool too. But I have to do Depane only a few days after Flanders.
Do you guys do Dries Dag Depane or Eens Dag Depane?
Yeah, just one.
Okay.
There's no such thing as 3 days Depane anymore. It's only one.
Isn't there?
No.
That was my first race in Europe. My second race in Europe as a pro, and I did 40k Depane, and left half my face on the road and broke my teeth. So it's always a good time, eh?
Ooh.
So how are the girls feeling? You guys have got some bloody momentum at the moment. Grace Brown won Brabant's Appeal a couple of days ago. So
that was so cool.
Yeah, good momentum into the Classics. So what's the plan this weekend? just get amongst it?
This weekend, yeah, similar feel. Obviously, Grace is in super form, so be pretty exciting to see what she can keep doing, and she's really building that confidence and skills as well, because as you know, it's like such a recipe to do well at the classics. You can't just be strong, you have to like put the whole puzzle together. But I think she's like a quick learner, and she's got that knack for racing, which is really cool to see someone fresh coming up like that. And the rest of us are pretty good as well, pretty good form. We've got Roy and myself. I tried my best to be in good form for my last block of races. So, yeah, I think we can just have some fun out there.
It's been such a difficult year for everyone, obviously, but like for you girls particularly, like your race calendar, like you haven't had lots of racing, have you really? So, I mean, they did their best to get as many races going for the guys and girls, but obviously the guys, we have so much more racing than you guys have had. So it's really must be quite difficult coming into the classics, really, without it. We speak about the form guide quite a lot, and you know, you girls in particular, not a lot of racing, really hard to get a form guide. I mean, you've been training here in Girona, getting ready for the classics. So, yeah, I mean, you've made the decision to retire. Obviously, a really hard decision, but you've had a very decorated career. Couple of Australian titles, second in Flanders. But yeah, I mean, but it must be difficult to sort of end it this way, I suppose. Like, but at least you get to end it.
You got to shorten your questions up.
Why don't you ask?
I was going to say, Gracie, like, take us through the decision to retire. It must have been a tough one.
There you go.
Yeah. Look, I probably only.
A little bit more, or?
Let's see if we can unpack some of that stuff there. Yeah, look, I probably only had a year or two left in me, but the coronavirus, I'm not going to lie, probably took a lot of fun out of it for me this year. But in other ways, like, I just had a few months at home, and just to be like away from the routine, away from the circus of it all. Like, I'm so grateful to be a cyclist, but you are on a specific calendar, and every year doesn't change that much, and you kind of don't even have time to think about some things sometimes, because it's just like next race, next training camp. The small breaks we do have, you don't really have enough time to really like think about what you really want.
Have you thought about what that is? What so you're going to stop, and so in 2 weeks' time or 2.5 weeks' time, suddenly everything you've done every day, you've got up, done the same thing, done this routine, everything, and that's all just like.
It's not Mordor, bro. It's just the next chapter.
No, but that's what I mean.
Hey, mate, you done with the questions? Stop giving advice.
All right.
George, continue.
So have you thought about what that is? I mean, one day you're just going to wake up in 2.5 weeks and be, I don't have to ride my bike today. I don't have to go to this race. It's just the off season forever
it's really strange to think about it like that. I think it's a mistake to not have something to do straight away. So I think I'm planning lots of like fun, non-hard things to do to keep me busy. And like next year, I just need to finish my degree. So I just want to take 12 months of trying not to be the best at something. I think it's really important to take the pressure off, but to still stay busy. So I don't know. I'm kind of competitive, but I'm actually not the most competitive person in sport. So I'll always find ways to challenge myself and like do other sports and exercise, because I'll always need that like pressure release, I guess, from physical side of things. But I'm really looking forward to using my brain more and seeing what I can do when I'm not so tired all the time from training and racing.
Speaking of using your brain, I've got a question here that might actually be all right. Speaking of using your brain, you were one of the trailblazers and founders of the Cycling Alliance. You're effectively the women's union. How about you use your brain and set up a good men's one? That was shocking.
Yeah, well, you never know. The men might join us, so we'll see what happens with that. But I think all the people involved, like, obviously, I was one of the co-founders, but we had so many people helping us, a lot of key advisors, and a lot of that came from some of the men's cycling too. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see over the next few years what happens with the CPA. And we've just seen a new organization. It's not a union pop up, but it's Pro Cyclist Foundation. I don't know if you've seen that yet. It's an American-based group. And they're getting their funding out of hedge funds. So that's kind of cool and interesting to see as well. Like, a lot of people are really starting to care more about advocacy for athletes and riders, and just having more balance in the sport and more safety and more financial security.
What are you doing your degree in, Gracie?
Pretty much a sports science degree. So I don't have much left to go, and it's kind of cool that I've managed to finish a degree while I've been a pro cyclist as well. So just knock that off, and not sure if I want to keep studying or not, but I'll just leave the options open there.
Yeah, and you're also really creative when it comes to the video stuff. I remember back in the very early days in 2012 when I was staying at Varese in that, what was it? What would you describe that living quarters there? It was a bit grim.
It was pretty grim, yeah.
Oh.
That was, you definitely brought a bit of extra joy to that place. So.
Yeah, and we discovered that show, Derek. I remember, that was
Ricky Gervais.
Oh, brilliant. But would you be considering into getting to, docos or sort of video production stuff?
Don't know, actually. I haven't really thought about it. I haven't done a lot of that stuff for a while. But yeah, I certainly have a bit of an interest in doing multimedia type stuff. So we'll see where we go. But on the other hand, I'm kind of enjoying stepping away from more social media side of things. And I think that's such an intrinsic part of any kind of media career now. So yeah, maybe I just need a break from the athlete side of it, and then maybe next year I'll feel a bit refreshed and want to come back into it from a different angle.
Yeah, time away from the bubble, I think it'd be pretty good.
Well, you've certainly done a good job of bringing up the tone of this show and bringing up.
I just feel that it's added a lot of polish that we sort of haven't needed, except for the questions.
I just got wrong-footed so early today and just haven't recovered.
I think the Roubaix cancellation has just absolutely thrown you, Bills.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking about starting a podcast just so I can rival yours, really.
Bring it on.
Yeah.
We're number one show in New Zealand once before.
Oh, righto. Tickets? Jeez. You are off your game tonight, mate. Your lockability is just plummeted.
Election campaigns, mate.
Well, we wish you all the best, Gracie, for the remaining races of your career. As Bill said, it's been an amazing achievement as a dual national road race title winner and the only female ever from Australia to be on the podium at Tour of Flanders. So some great achievements there, and what you're doing off the bike as well is fantastic. So no doubt you're going to be a success in the future for sure.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah, all the best, Gracie. Thanks for coming on, and we'll be watching these races with interest. Teach those young girls as much as you can, and go out there and enjoy your last races. And
I'll do my best. Yeah, thanks, guys.
Cool.
Good on
Cheers,
you, Gracie.
Gracie.
See ya.
All right, ciao.
Bye.
Gracie Elvin.
Mate,
shocking.
what are those questions?
I've never seen you two behave so well. Like, you one woman on the show, and then suddenly, you can string a sentence together without swearing.
And we didn't swear, yeah.
Yeah, you can, you know
what that is? You know what that is? That's very good upbringing. We've been brought up as polite guys. Mind your P's and Q's. Don't have your elbows on the table when you eat. All that shit. Now we can go back to being pigs again.
I heard a good story about an Aussie that rode so my teammates say an Aussie that rode for them, and they would, he was notoriously bad mouth, like swearing this, and they come to Australia for Tour Down Under one day. And when like another culture learns a language that, we touched on it last time, you don't really know like when to swear or when not to swear. Like you hear, like Esteban's a great example, like he's the nicest guy, but he'll just pick up on hanging out with you too much, Sam, for example. And you don't really know which words are the really bad words. So, and like we've got a good ranking of a C-bomb, an F-bomb, all the way down to shit, like a damn, and you put in the wrong one. And they were telling me that when they came to Tour Down Under, they actually met this guy's family, and they were all swearing, and he was the worst swearer they'd ever heard in their life. And he's around his family though, he's just going like, giving them these ones like,
oh no,
his wife has no idea. Around his family, he's a well-versed. Yeah, exactly. He's high class, but around the boys, he's just foul-mouthed and everything. So I think that's a bit like you guys when you get Gracie Elvin on the show. Suddenly, you change your tune.
No, we said a couple of F-bombs.
I dropped one early just to set the tone, but Yeah.
So
hey,
go.
do you want me to get Jace on to announce the winner for this prize? Ready to
absolutely.
rock. All right.
Let's
it's a big build up. Geez, we did a good job of promoting this prize too over that journey. Massive shout out. Now we had some people that would have been at the top of the tree, but there was a bit of controversy, Bewley, with the tattoo.
Well, yeah, we put it on our social media. You would have seen it, that somebody went out there and got themselves a social distance podcast tattoo. That is unbelievable support for the show. It's a massive sacrifice.
You were so excited.
I was so excited. I didn't even take time to look at it. I just posted it straight up. And we could be wrong. We haven't actually asked it. But there are some holes in that. We think that it may be fake because I think it's on his shoulder, or I don't even know where it is.
No, it was on his knee. Just below his knee.
But the hair wasn't shaved. And when they put a tattoo on, they always shave the hair first. So, mate, we don't know. Is it real or is it not?
And you know when you get a tattoo and they write letters, right? They never look as crisp as if you had printed it and sort of stuck it on. Those letters looked a little bit too crisp as well.
Do you think it was a Photoshop job, or do you think he was running like the old bubblegum rapper tattoos?
Photoshop. Photoshop.
Yep. I don't think they've got the old Social Distance podcast old logo, I must say, has reached the bubblegum rappers yet.
Well, the moment has arrived. We have got Jason live from the Maldives. Jason Cruz, how are you, mate?
Fantastic, gentlemen. How are you?
Yeah, we're good. You must be wrapped with how well we promoted this prize over the journey, mate. You must have got huge bookings for the Amilla Resort.
Massive amounts of massive emails.
Yeah. So, I suppose
mostly complaining about why you would put your name on a show like this, or they complaints in nature, or it was good feedback.
I can neither confirm or deny this, but I'll tell you offline. It's definitely word said, boys.
Yeah, well, how's it been at the resort, mate? Is the weather still pretty good? More people coming in?
Yeah, weather's smashing. Things are looking a lot better now. We've got guests flying in from Russia, UK, Middle East. So it's nice to have some guests around, but they're getting a good holiday, that's for sure.
Yep. And
who are the worst behaved guests, actually? I imagine the Russians, they come to the Maldives and they don't, that they're sort of launching a little bit, or who's in general your worst customers?
You put me on
the all right, so Bewley's been red carded for a shocking question early for Gracie. That is up there, Bennett. As if a manager of a resort's got to go, all the Russians, shoot house, don't come.
30% of the business is washed up because of one question from George. Thanks, mate.
So not only have we stuffed up the promotion of this prize, we've got 1 week to even mention the resort. You go on and ask the manager to openly bag out nationalities that are coming to his resort.
I just wonder if there's one.
Can we get anything right? Who's going to want to sponsor this shit moving forward?
All right. The Russians. You don't have to say anything.
Just let the Russians go, mate. Let them go. The Russians are fine.
A huge Russian listener base.
We're having a shocker.
You want to just, the Russians are here, all right? It's been a long fucking week. The Russians are coming,
What I can say, some of the Russian guests we get here are a lot of fun. Morning, they're generally a little less friendly, but by the time afternoon hits, they're actually a lot more jovial. We'll put it that way.
Why don't you just say it's the Kiwis? The Kiwis are the worst, and they're the most rude.
The worst.
All right.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Back in New Zealand, we've got,
Jace, we don't want to put you through any more pain, mate. We've done enough. Do you want to announce who is the lucky winner of this amazing prize?
Yeah, amazing prize. I'd love to. So how many people do we, sort of got mixed up in this?
We had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people apply, basically, and that's not fabricating it. We actually did. We had a lot of comments.
We had a heap of Russians.
And it was quite difficult to come up with the winner. In the end, the guy that we have selected as the winner, he followed the rules of the competition. He shared the post. He tagged 3 people. He followed the guidelines, but he went far and beyond, and he actually did something extra, and he wrote us a jingle for our podcast. So that did get him across the line. Do you know who the winner is, Jace, or do you want me to announce it?
I've got the winner here. So, there is some integrity behind this podcast.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, good.
I sent him the name, Sam, so that he could announce it. That was the whole point. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Trump. And the winner is Andrew Turner.
Andrew Turner.
Did you? I think you might have cut out a bit then when you said his name. No joke. I think you.
I don't know who won.
No, who was it again?
Let's do it again. So it's Andrew Turner was the winner.
Andrew Turner.
Turnsey.
Andrew Turner. So basically, it's 5 nights in a water villa, so water pool villa, full board. We'll take care of his seaplane flight. So if he's never done a seaplane before, he'll get it on there. It's worth $10,000. It's a good prize. And we'll look after him. I'll definitely take him out for drinks at night. So
you can do some vodka shots with the Russians. It's going to be awesome. Oh, mate, what a week.
Yeah, at least someone can get back to you guys about which of our markets are toughest.
I'll tell you what, we're going to get Andy Turner on and when he's back from the Maldives, and we'll find out who's been most disruptive at the resort. We'll get to the bottom of this.
It might be the general manager, to be honest, but yeah.
Look, mate, we have to thank you very much for this unbelievable prize. It's been a pleasure to try to promote it in some way, the Amilla Resorts Maldives. We're excited for Andy Turner, who's gone far and beyond, wrote us an unbelievable jingle, followed all the rules. He's going to have an awesome time under the guidance of you, Jace. We have no doubt, in a beautiful resort. So we must thank you and Amilla Resorts. Put the website up, Jonesy. And Andy, we will reach out to you you'll reach out to us because we want to make sure you listen to the show. Send us I've got you in primary comments on Instagram. So once you've listened, slide into our DMs, Andy, and then we will send you the voucher and put you in touch with Amilla.com and put you in touch with Jace to go on with the prize.
And just on the prize, a shout out to close second, Igor Izhnikov. You're very close, but unfortunately George overruled it, and we'll try and get around you for the next one, mate. Apologies.
And gentlemen, when you finally get back to New Zealand, pop on your way here. More than welcome to.
Absolutely.
Welcome you here as well.
Oh, they will take you up on that. I know them very well, so they will be there.
Brilliant.
Well, good. Sorry for the stuff ups, but we know that we're good for it, and we'll plug the resort through the rest of the year. We'll get behind it, and yeah, mate, we love the work. It's just amazing. Thank you very much. You're a bloody legend.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Jace.
Lovely to meet you, guys.
See you, mate.
Bye.
Cheers. Jeez, we're on a fucking stinker today, aren't we?
Yeah. It's great, though.
Well, sensational prize. Some great questions. And yeah, I suppose onwards and upwards, boys. We're sort of halfway through the show.
Hey, before Gracie came on, we were just discussing, we were talking Trump and politics and things. What I wanted to touch on was we've got these 2 referendums.
Yep.
We've got the legalized marijuana and the end of life one. And what's Aussie policy? It's not legal there at all in any way.
Marijuana? I think there's medical marijuana.
Okay, I don't even think we've got that. What do you reckon? What do you think there should be?
I think so. I mean, why not? Yeah, they're going to need to tax. They're going to need to generate more tax revenue to pay off this debt that probably won't get squared up for the next 150 years. So why not generate a fair bit of coin? I mean, they tax darts. They're no good. So
it'll be the most regulated substance in the country for sure. I mean, cigarettes and alcohol are already taxed pretty heavily, but this is going to be taxed even more. It's going to be, I think the regulations of it will be quite strict. Like you won't be able to just walk into the corner store like you can and buy a bottle of wine. You won't be able to just walk into the corner store and won't be able to walk into Raj's shop, for example, and buy a joint. It'll be pretty heavily regulated. It's going to be an interesting referendum, though. It's sort of swinging at the moment. A week ago they were saying it's not going to pass. Now they're saying it is going to pass. it's probably going to depend on us overseas voters because they've got no idea what we're thinking.
Yeah, they got no idea. Right?
Are they running like big campaigns about like, you know, there's going to be streets filled with stoners and
I think the a lot of older people were worried that kids are just going to smoke 24/7 and turn into zombies and charge around. But I feel like if you want to smoke weed at the moment in New Zealand, you can do it. You know, if you want to find weed, I don't imagine it's that hard to
and
find.
I think that's one of the primary goals of this policy is that you can smoke. It's pretty easy to find. It's not hard to get hold of. But they want to take the sale of marijuana out of the hands of gangs and hands of.
So you don't have to go to a gang, clubhouse and knock on the door of the mongrel mob and be like, "Yo." Yeah,
exactly. So they want to tighten up So you're going to vote? You're voting yes, are you, GB, or what?
I think so. I'm a strong yes on the euthanasia one, and I think I'm a yes on the cannabis one. I'm obviously got concerns about it, but I think it's better than people going to jail for smoking weed. I mean,
yeah, I'm still trying to decide which colour I'm going to bleed for the next 4 years, whether it's blue or red. I'm a bit of a swing. Me and George came to the conclusion the other day that I'm actually a bit of a swing. I'm a classic swing voter, especially in New Zealand. And when you're a swing voter in New Zealand, the pendulum is barely fucking moving. Like slightly left of centre or slightly right of centre. Like you're basically on the same flagpole still. So
I thought Jacinda Ardern was just unbeatable. Like all the media that we get here, she's like untouchable.
Yeah, but it's the farmers. The farmers hate her. Especially South Island.
Why?
The South Island, because the lower South Island, or basically anywhere from like Nelson's 50-50, so where I live, top of the South Island, and then anywhere south, they just hate because there's she wants to bring in a lot of environmental stuff around emissions and I think just generally rural people in New Zealand it's strange. Don't you think it's so strange that you just vote what your parents voted? So, like, if you just born in a house, pretty much, I don't know. From everyone I know,
that's true.
They just follow that's what their parents did, so that's what they do, and their parents have been able to influence them from such a long age. Like, for example, if I was born in another house, maybe I'd vote the other way. But my parents have always voted this way, and I've always been like, yeah, of course, that's the way,
Like I grew up in not a political family. So I couldn't tell you what way my parents vote. I got no idea.
Yeah, but also it's because your parents are quite passionate about what their opinion is. That's the house rule. And even today, like I remember talking to my old man a couple of weeks ago about the Premier of Victoria, and I'm going, geez, it's really starting to piss me off now. He's like, what? Hang on, he's doing a good job. He just starts getting on the attack, and it's like he still owns what the house thinks. Yeah. And I said, Emu, they cocked up hotel quarantine. You've got to expect people to be pissed off about it. Yeah, but there's no guarantee the other bloke wouldn't have done that. I said, oh, well, yeah, okay. That's the rule for everything, is it? You stuff up, but you probably couldn't do a better job. It doesn't stick. So,
what do people with ScoMo? How's he going at the moment? He was number one hated man in Australia for a very long time.
But now Dan Andrews is carrying all that. Like everyone's just targeting him. So ScoMo, we never hear or see him anymore.
He's still in Hawaii.
He's the background. Yeah, he's still on the beers. So no, he's flying under the radar big time. So it feels like Victoria's a bit of that sort of forgotten problem of Australia. Like it is so divided now with the states because they've got the borders up. Like everyone's there law unto themselves, and no one wants to reopen it. They don't really want to, mix. And it's like,
it's a shame because I had this grand plan because we talked about it. Actually, we touched on the Detour podcast this morning, and when the boys asked if we were going to come home at the end of the year, and so for us, obviously, it's 2-week quarantine, all this stuff. But I had this plan to try see the family somehow by coming in on the Tour Down Under. If Tour Down Under goes ahead, which at the moment, from all accounts, it says it's going ahead, and you come in on the quarantine flight from Europe, and you do like a 7-day or whatever it is out in the hills, this group quarantine. I'm not sure how it's going to operate, and then from there you try hook into the New Zealand Australia bubble that could be opening, but you can't. The problem is if you come into the wrong state, then you're stuffed because then you have to do 2 weeks even more. Like I was talking to Richie about trying to go home to Tasmania, and he has to fly in 2 weeks into Melbourne, do 2 weeks quarantine when he lands, and then when he goes to Tasmania, he has to do another 2 weeks when he gets on the island. So like, you can end up flicking yourself even worse.
Well, that sucks. Is he going to do it?
Yeah. No, I think he's sticking it out over in Europe. I think we all are, right? Well, that's the.
So yes for loss of life referendum then, and
surely.
Shall we move on?
Dope and the dead.
Group 8.
No, let's crack into our year. I'm so intrigued about our year. Let's fucking get into it.
Let's do it.
You want to line it up, Jonesy? Come on, mate.
Righto. Okay, it's speech time, boys. We had to think about this, and we've always gone back to years that we know on paper are better than 2020. But we had a chat the other day, and for the first time ever, we're looking forward. And I tell you what's been giving me the shits lately, boys, is you just get fed so much bullshit in the media and the politicians. Everyone's blueing and everyone's getting frustrated. We're in the second wave, and it's just got to stop. It's got to stop. And for the first time ever, we got to the point where we're like, you know what? This ain't going to change for a while. Like when they go, oh, geez, we're not going to get the vaccine in February now. It's like, yeah, no shit. You're never going to get the vaccine. Pull your head out of your ass. Like, look at reality. Stop all this positivity fucking bullshit. I'm sick of it. Like, just look at it for what it is, and that is next year is a fucking write-off, right? It's a write-off. So one of the greatest ever films of all time is Any Given Sunday, and me and Buells were talking about it, and I think it's appropriate, boys, to pull out the Inch's speech. I don't know what to say. There's 449 days to the biggest celebration of our professional lives, and it all comes down to today. Either we get smart as a podcast or we're going to crumble. Day by day, show by show, till we're finished. 2020 is a bag of absolute shit right now, gentlemen. And 2021 will be too. Believe me. We can stay here, get the mental shit kicked out of us, and believe that 2021 is going to be a great year. Or we can fight our way back into the light. We can climb out of hell and look forward to 2022 one day at a time. Now I can't do it for you. I look around and I see these naive comments on social media and I think, I made every wrong choice a middle-aged man could make. I believed there'd be a vaccine by Christmas. I thought the pubs would reopen in Victoria. And lately, I can't even stand the sight of a politician saying next year will be better. You know, when you get old in life, people feed you shit. You know, that's just part of life. But you only learn that when you start trusting people. You find out that life's this game of spinning bullshit. And so is podcasting. Because in either game, life or podcasting, the margin for error with trust is so small. I mean, one mention of a vaccine working and you start believing it. One fuckhead on social saying, pubs reopen next week, and you iron your jeans. The bullshit we absorb is everywhere around us. They're in every social post, every politician's speech, every newspaper. On this podcast, we fight to spin bullshit. On this podcast, we tear ourselves and everyone around us to pieces to make up facts. We claw with our fingernails for that subscriber because we know when we spin bullshit to make us feel better, that's going to make the fucking difference between legends and bellends, between living and dying. I tell you this, in 2020, it's a guy who is willing to be realistic and realize that 2021 is a complete fucking write-off. And I know if I'm going to have any life anymore, it's because I'm still willing to fight and die for 2022. Because that is when we start really living. There's 449 days in front of your face. Now, I can't make you write off next year and focus on 2022. You got to look at the guy next to you. You got to look into his eyes. Now, I think you're going to see a guy who will write off that year for you. You're going to see a guy who will dive into 2022 because he knows when it comes down to it, 2021 ain't for him. That's the plan, gentlemen. And either we write off next year as a podcast or we will die with too high expectations. That's the reality of bullshit, guys. That's all it is. Now, what are we going to do?
Goosebumps, mate.
That was so good.
What are we going to do?
What
are we going to do?
2022. That is our year. We're not looking back. We're not looking at 1979 or 1969. We're not talking about moon landings. We're not talking about Woodstock. We're talking about a year that we're not even at yet. But it's going to be our year. 2021, like you say, Jonesy, it's a write-off. There's no vaccine. There's still going to be restrictions on pubs. You're still only going to allowed to have 6 people around for a barbecue. That's the reality of it. But 2022 will be when this shit is all behind us, and you'll be able to sharpen your bloody edges, and you get out there and you're going to live your life. Start saving your pennies now. Throw away all the bloody luxuries. Live off canned food for a year. Build a bank, because you can come out. If you can build the bank, cash is key. And you're going to come into 2022 hot, and we're going to make it work.
Everyone panic bought at some point this year. We know this. So you've got so much shit, long life shit in that cupboard. Next year, you chip away at it. You clean it out. I'm turning 40 next year. Guess what I'm doing? Sweet fuck all. I'm going to sit in a darkened room in the corner with my 2-minute noodles. I'm going to stare at a blank wall, because I know my 41st will be a cracking party, because that'll be in the year 2022. It's all about getting through and writing off next year so that the expectations are low, and whatever they throw at you, you're going to be able to handle, because you're in the right mindset.
We need to get out of that Al Pacino mood, eh? We're like still talking like we're
still Now, George, what's the hashtag?
They say that the disappointment, right, is just the difference between expectations and reality, right? So that's your thing. So I guess to summarize the whole thing is, if you really just bring down what like people got this on 29th of December, 31st of December, 11:50, and the clock's changed to 2021. It's still the same, we're in the same situation. So if we just dampen those expectations, bring everything down a little bit, then it's not so bad, because that's what hurts. It's a disappointment. Yeah. It's the fact that, like, I've got the off season around the corner, and I'm thinking, oh mate, I can't wait to go to lunches and go out and finally live after 12 months of living like a monk, and this crazy season, being on the straight and narrow and stuff. And then the reality is that how can I do that? I can't even go play wall ball because you can't have more than 6 people around. So
yeah, 2021 is going to be the same. So fucking flick it. So
and literally buy a calendar, buy a big fat red Sharpie, and just start crossing it out. Just start crossing the days out. Just do it now. Just and hang it on the wall, and just be a constant reminder that it's a write-off. And George, you've got a hashtag that I think is going to take off.
Yeah, I believe we're going for 2022. So this means that anytime anything goes wrong, you get a flat tire in your car, you go, 2022, I guess. That'll be my year. It's just a bit of hope. It's a light at the end of the tunnel, So we're going through all this stuff. Everything's going tits up. Oh, wanted to go ride Roubaix. Cancelled.
Oh, well, 2022. Geraint Thomas crashed out of the Giro, right? And he did a big post about how 2020 can go fuck itself pretty much. But that's still living in a negative now. If you go, 2022, it flips that and gives you something positive to look forward to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a real feel-good hashtag. Hashtag 2022. Mate, you can apply it to anything. Anything. You stub your toe walking to the fridge. Hashtag 2022.
Might do that in 22.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is it just instantly makes you feel better. Like, no matter what the situation, it instantly makes you feel better. And as you said, George, if you go in with low expectations, under promise, over deliver. So
we want people to use that hashtag. No, we want people on social media to start getting this hashtag pumping. Hashtag 2022. It's simple.
And each week we'll highlight some of these great stories where people have had an absolute shit day. 2022. And let's get this thing going, because more than anything, if it helps, lift people's spirits. And also, all right, picture this. You've saved your money all year, right? You're cashed up. And normally the Boxing Day sales are like a big sales event. Write this year off. Don't purchase anything. If you can go skimpy on some Christmas presents, go through your cupboards. Oh, I haven't worn that shirt before. Bag it up. Give it as a present, whatever. But next year, those Boxing Day sales bills, that's when you launch. That's when you really start prepping for 2022. I'm talking 90-inch flat screen TV. You've got cash for your Netflix, your Disney Plus. You know, you're ready to go. And I reckon we should start planning now. You'd be on board, George. The greatest ever New Year's Eve party New Zealand has ever seen, because we're starting to think towards that is the New Year's you want to celebrate 2021 into 2022.
We're gonna hold it off, and I'm gonna cancel New Year's Eve this year. Going to 1st of January 2021. Forget about it. I'll be in bed, cup of tea, shut it down. Forget about it.
I might ring my coach now and just say, look, I don't know, like, can you just pencil in 7 hours with efforts on 1st of January 2021? So, sorry, boys, I got a big day tomorrow.
We're going to start planning the New Year's Eve going into 2022. Hashtag 2022. That's our year. We're gonna do a live social distance podcast from the pub, because we'll be allowed in the pubs then. We'll be allowed capacity in the pubs. We're going to get the world's hottest DJs. We'll get the Finn brothers. I'm sure they'll be up for it.
They'll play. We've given them notice. They always go, sorry, mate, if you had to give me notice. We're giving you notice. We're giving you over a year.
Hashtag OL 2022.
All right, it's on. And we'll launch a website next week, and we'll start building a email database so that we can email you out and keep you updated with the greatest ever New Year's Eve bash in where we're going to do it, Auckland.
Or we do whatever we want. International travel will be open again.
We'll do it in the Maldives.
Yeah, there you go. Amilla Resorts.
We'll celebrate with the Russians. Hey, perfect. Huzzah!
Start using it, boys and girls. Hashtag OL 2022. We'll read out a couple of crackers each week and give someone a prize sometime along the line with something. I don't know what.
Maybe that new Rolex on your wrist.
24 pack of loo roll.
Oh, give us a look at your new watch, Bills.
Nah.
All right. All right, legend.
Jonesy. Then I can see I got a Garmin, because this is in anticipation of the off season that I'm going to start getting in what you're doing, and 10,000 steps. I'm going to run.
Oh, good on you.
Well, we'll give it a week. So what happens. Sounds like a knee injury waiting to happen, really. So,
especially what you were telling me, like we're talking about running, and George is telling me he wants to do like these 25k trail runs and shit like that. I'm like, mate, that's a sprained ankle waiting to happen. Stick to the tarmac.
No. Have you just learnt nothing? If you get injured,
2022.
Right it off.
This is the approach to the Vuelta. It's like, this is the problem. If you're already making off-season plans, it's like the Vuelta starts in 12 days, 11 days, and you're coming in. What's the piss take of Top Gun with Charlie Sheen? What's the name of that movie? Hot Shots. He's coming into land, and he's like, landing gear won't work, and the control tower's like, you're doing great, buddy. I lost a wing. That's it. Doesn't matter. And then I lost another wing. And he's coming in. There's like me coming into the Vuelta. I'm like, coming in. I'm like, heart rate won't go over 100. Coach is like, don't worry, mate. You got this. Yeah, but I'm like 6 kilos heavy. Yeah, doing great, man. Looking fine. just sliding into the Vuelta. Just trying to get the plane
but like anything, you go in with low expectations, you'll have a great time, and you'll race well. And, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Should we step into legend or bell-in, Bulls?
Yeah, well, George is going to lead the front of this. I haven't done any research, but we are doing. We were handed this legend or bell-in, yet to be decided, on a platter from one of our listeners. It's an absolute cracker, actually, and I think it will create some division, which ultimately is what we look for in this segment. Last week we forgot to vote, so we don't even know if there was division or not. We won't forget this week. Hugh Hefner. Is he a legend or is he a bell-in? Discuss.
Well, it's fitting that on our... Is it fitting, or is it the opposite of fitting is? That on our inaugural woman guest, we've gone with Hugh Hefner, who has essentially taken more steps backward for women than any other man in history. But
that's a good point.
We'll have Adam.
It's been a real roller coaster, this one. This episode.
Yeah, well, Hefner himself was actually quite he's obviously a divisive figure in general, but he's actually been on the right side of history on a lot of things, just not, women's right. He says he loves women.
Well, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, shit.
I don't know if he loves women. I think he likes the look of women. I don't know if he loves, you know what I mean? Like he loves women, but does he love women?
He lusts for women.
Yeah, but in terms of like he's a bit of a superstar in the LGBTQI community, and he's also done well with LGBTQI, lesbian, gay, bi.
Trans.
What the hell is a Q? What is a Q?
LGBTQ.
I don't know. But
you're treading on some hot areas here, Judge.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, we'll call it the rainbow community. Yeah, but in terms of like race he was quite big. He was quite one of the first guys to normalize in America in a time where there was huge amounts of segregation between black and white. He was ahead of all those matters. He was in front of those. But and he's a very strange man. Like he was actually.
How was he ahead of those? What did he do?
He set up back when in the 60s when like black people in America weren't allowed to sit go on the same bus as white people, all that crap. He set up the Playboy playhouses, like the gentlemen's clubs, in the 60s, and he opened the first one in Chicago where he said, black or white, doesn't matter, you're all welcome. For me, there's no such thing as division in race. It's one person or another, and so he was really ahead of that. He was a big advocate for that. He was involved in a lot of civil rights movements. He was really, he was bloody onto it with that stuff. He just had a porno magazine, but it wasn't really, that's how it started. But it was a gentleman's magazine. It had articles,
the articles were really good. The articles were great.
But it turned out that the whole thing was just a weird reflection of his like alter ego, of his fantasy life. Like he was like I think he was in World War II, wasn't he? And he was one of these guys. He saved himself for marriage and met this girl, and she cheated on him and broke his heart. And the whole time he had this like running this like comic book. He has a world record in Guinness World Record for scrapbooking. He has more. He got the record for like the most documentation of his life and stuff. So he was always keeping this, like, he was writing out this comic about this alter ego that was Hef. And then he sort of slowly at one stage had his heart broken by this woman and just started morphing into this cartoon character he created, the most outrageous guy. And then it just sort of, his weird sort of vision just became his reality, and he just turned into this, he just became it. It came and just did it, and then it just took off, and he sort of lost his way a little bit, I guess.
But yeah, he just created this community, didn't he? Because like, yeah, you can argue he's the sexist side of things and everything, but like he had the Playboy mansion, obviously, and he had all those girls living with him, and they chose that to do that, and he just created this community, and the magazine is more than just naked woman. It was like a gentleman's magazine, I guess you call it, where you could read articles about all sorts of things, and then
can you still read a Playboy?
Yeah, and I think it's toned down a bit because he got in this shit like in the 60s or 70s when he did one with a photo with a naked girl and a guy in the same bed, and then obscenity was a crime back then or something or whatever. He was actually arrested for that. Charges were dropped, but then over the years the magazine has changed, and I don't think they've taken out the centerfold now. They don't have that in the magazine. It's more of a it is like a normal magazine, just with.
I have this memory of Centerfold, and it was like this song by the J. Geels band or something, and I was with my brother and I was super young, and the song was that Angel in the Centerfold. And that was, I never knew what a centerfold was, but I really liked the song. It was a super catchy song, you probably know it. And I remember my brother having to explain to me what the centerfold was, and I was about 7 years old, and then I always remember.
Is that that song that goes, "My love runs cold"?
Yeah.
Angel, the centerfold. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's that was my education of centerfolds.
It was funny because it's his first ever publication of Playboy. It was arguably the most famous one. It was with Marilyn Monroe. And so every Playboy magazine has a issue, like an issue number, whatever, like the Playboy number 6,000, whatever. And when he released the first one, he didn't put a date or a issue number on it, because even though it had Marilyn Monroe, who was the world's most famous person at the time, he didn't back himself that it was going to get any traction, and he wasn't going to do his second one. He was like, probably be a one-hit wonder. Went far and beyond that, didn't it? Jeez, I tell you what. And he was a trailblazer for stay at home and working from home. Like, you think it came in with COVID? Came in with Hef, mate. That's how he got into pajamas, because he started working from home, and he's like, "Fuck it, I don't have to wear a suit. I'll wear my pajamas." And that's how it all started. And he's like,
when he went into the mansion, he didn't leave his house. He didn't leave his house for 3.5 months. He was like, "Oh, you thought I'd go shopping or something?" Nothing.
No, just kick around in PJs.
I read some stuff about the mystique of, he's this, dynamo with all the women and stuff like that. And the reality was he was a hoarder, and his room was filthy. And they used to have like movie nights and all that with the bunnies and all this sort of shit. And one of the girls, the bunnies, and then one of the girls like lifted the lid on, what was he really like in bed? And it's like, really? She's like 20, he's like 82, bag of sloppy balls, and like she said it was just horrific. Like she said it.
I find that quite hard.
Yeah, she just said it was just, the lengths you go to be a Playboy bunny, and nah.
But what the reason was he would pay for their surgery. So he would pay for all the boob jobs, everything like that.
But bloody hell, you go get a boob job in Thailand, it's what, $2,000? It's not worth it.
I don't know, man. One.
Yeah.
What do you reckon then? What
it's
do you?
Shame that there has to. It's polarizing options.
Go to your microphone, bro.
It's quite polarizing options. It's like,
what side of the Hugh Hefner fence do you want to sit on? Are you in the grotto or are you out of the grotto?
I just don't know if I can get behind. He just is a bit too creepy for me. So I'm gonna have to go Belling.
I think we really need to define, like, what does it mean if you vote legend? Like, is it because, he's a maverick and a pioneer and, sold all these magazines and created this brand that's globally known? Or is it because, he's a bellend because, he does all this stuff that, objectifies, is that a word? Objectifies women in that light where they're just objects, and it's sending the wrong message.
I guess what you could do is boil it down and go, did he do more good than bad? Which arguably he did, the progression of society.
I'll tell you a quick Playboy story. I remember working at the Sale Authorised News Agency, and when they had old magazines, they used to rip the cover off them and send the cover back saying, we couldn't sell them or whatever, and they'd leave the discards in the bins out the back. Now, I worked this out as a 15-year-old, so I'd fish out these discarded Playboys out of the bin, and then you'd sell them at school. And I remember this one time I had this discarded Playboy, and I got busted. I think the old man said, parents. My old man found it, and it was just sitting on the table one time. And I remember coming home from school, and I'm like, I'm in deep shit here. And then, I had to have the chat with the parents, and my mum said, the thing that disappoints me the most about all of this is you're at that impressionable age, you're 15, and it's going to give you a distorted view on women. So that's the part that I really don't like, particularly young kids seeing all this stuff. And it's even worse with the internet. You can get access to bloody horrific stuff when, you Google and whatever. But, so there's that side that you go, So we can see.
Would deleting the private browser function be a remedy for that? You know what I mean? So people can still look at whatever they want to look at, but they have to wear it on their sleeve. You know, their history log is permanent. Would that be a way around it?
Would probably change Bewley's Google search maneuvers. He's thinking about it. He's going,
yeah.
Who's going to see that?
No skeletons in my closet, boys.
Look, I'm gonna go out on a whim. I'm gonna have to vote Bellend.
Yeah. I don't know. Again, it's really tough. It's good arguments both ways. I think certainly from a from a male's perspective of like living in this flash house with all these women, that's like the old brash. Oh, what a legend, But I think the reality of it is that he's not. It's the last 20.
It's the last 20 Bellend years that sort of tipped me. I think if he had have gone out on a high when he was doing all the cool stuff in the 70s and 80s and said, you know what, I've had my time. I'm getting a bit wrinkly now, and I'm just not. I don't have it, so I'm off into the sunset with my pipe jacket.
If he just settled down finally with like someone who's you know what I mean? If it didn't keep 80, I think it's the whole 80-20 ratio that really throws me off.
Yeah. Don't want to even think about that. And when they keep pushing it on these bloody news websites, it's clickbait. It's like Hugh Hefner is shit in a sack, and you're like, ooh. And then you read it and you're like, after you read it, you're like, oh, man.
Gross.
Anyway. No, I'm going to go Bellend as well then. So go to your microphone.
3 Bellends. All right. Well, that's been a pretty eventful show, boys.
It's been a great show. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
And don't forget, 2022.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. One thing I was thinking about with this is, as much as it provides optimism for the future, it also, there's something in like shared suffering. So every time if you start following this hashtag and you go, it's not just me, everyone else is having a shit of a time. Like,
exactly.
Solidarity.
Yeah, solidarity.
We want to unite the world through suffering and looking forward to a year that surely is better than the shitstorm 2020's
Hashtag
good that we touched on the
2022.
Giro and talked about the Giro because
I got that song.
But we're out of time because I'm actually got a hot lunch date.
Oh,
we don't need to talk about the Giro. We had Gracie on. We talked about the classics. We got some great insights from her. We ticked all the boxes.
Yep.
All right.
Good job, boys.
Okay.
And if they don't like the show, then 2022.